Yetta, we've got trouble.
Sounds about right. In this life, we will have trouble.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
And so welcome to another episode. I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And on the inside track, life's inside track, in fact, we get to share techniques, thoughts, tips, tools, and tactics that we all need, we all deserve. You, I, everyone. So we get to turn our house into home, our families thrive, and we live the best life possible. In this episode, we're going to consider 3 ways that we as humans tend to approach trouble, an issue, or a dilemma.
Yeah, there's 3 ways.
That we believe there are 3
Yeah.
ways. I think if you wanted to go real super extravagant, you could find more ways. And yet we've experienced for the last 30 years is we've had all kinds of dilemmas and challenges or trouble, as you call it. Frustrations, trouble.
Yeah, trouble with a capital T. Wait, don't run. This kind of trouble is lots of fun.
Yeah, this isn't.
Pop-o-matic trouble.
I know.
No, that's not
fun.
this one.
That's not what this is about.
Oh, okay.
Trouble in life, whether it's trouble in relation to selling a home or buying a home, there's often dilemmas that will show up that are difficult to navigate.
Yep.
And so we tend to come at things either trouble, dilemmas, frustrations, either as a problem to be solved. So some people think of anything that might come at them as a problem, and therefore they want to solve the problem.
Yep.
Then there's other people that tend to come at things as an opportunity.
Right.
An opportunity to be seized. If they have a difficulty, it's like, how do I... They see it as that opportunity that they can now go take advantage of or seize, the possibility to be harnessed. And then other people, again, will see the exact same dilemma as a challenge. And it's a challenge to be overcome. And I don't think it's 100% of the time we're going to see it that one way. We have a tendency, though, as humans, to attack a trouble in the same way most of the time.
Yeah. And you might call somebody who attacks using opportunity, they might be optimistic.
Maybe, but it's just a different way of seeing the same frustration. Right?
Yeah.
So how do you come at trouble, Ken?
Well, I'm a problem solver. I lead with problem solving. It's not that I don't see opportunity or challenge is not important to me, and we're going to unpack those later. But right now, we're going to talk about the problem to be solved, right?
Right.
And when I took an assessment one time, they ranked me super high on problem solving skills. And so usually I'm the go-to guy for our real estate team. If somebody has a problem, whether it be negotiating an offer or there's something wrong with the house, or, for instance, we had one where the septic system was failed. Buyer didn't have the money to do it. Seller didn't have the time to do it because the closing was too tight and the septic people couldn't get it done. And I said, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to problem solve, first of all, the price. We're going to increase the sale price. Not for the whole amount of the septic, but a part of it, because now the buyer is getting a brand new septic and not a used septic. So they kind of shared in the price of that with the seller and the buyer. And then the problem was the septic companies were so busy that they couldn't get it done before the closing. And our client got several quotes, and one was very inexpensive. And I said, go to them and ask them, because even if he added an extra $5,000, he was still below the other quotes. Ask him if he paid an extra $5,000, could he move it up in his schedule and get it done before the closing date? And the septic installer said, sure, for $5,000, I'll move my schedule around, right? So creative problem solving. We got the sale done both for the seller and the buyer, and everybody's happy. It's out of the box thinking.
Right. And what we're attempting to share is that an opportunity to be seized or a challenge to be overcome isn't inferior to solving the problem. It's just, how do you address it?
Yeah.
How do you go at it? So as we're explaining this, we're going to be asking you, think about it. Are you going to most consistently see a difficulty or a trouble or a dilemma as something that you want to solve.
Right. And for me, that problem solving, sometimes I go there way too quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, okay, I'm going to go here, Yetta. Many times a woman will tell you about their problem because they want to hear themselves. They want you to feel their frustration. They want you to connect with them. They want you to just listen and say things like, "Oh, that would be hard," or not patronizing.
That was patronizing. Like my eyes just rolled. If you're not watching this on YouTube on the Dekker Team channel and you're just listening, you couldn't hear my eye roll, but you probably did in my tone.
If you want to see this described really, really well, look on YouTube for the video called "It's Not About the Nail." Great skit. At any rate, I jump there too quickly and I don't spend time in your emotional puddle, so to speak, because eventually you may come around to asking me for a solution or solve your problem. But many times you just want me to listen.
Right.
And there's a big distinction there. Now, guys, typically, if a guy comes to me with a problem, they want to offer a solution, and the guy wants a solution because we don't want to just be listened to, typically.
And what's
Not
really
always.
neat, even in relation to the real estate journey, when we're helping somebody, there are lots of things that come up that feel like trouble, that are dilemmas in the process, whether financing fell through for a buyer or whether there's issues that came up in the building inspection and how are we going to navigate that? Are there things that seller needs to take on or is willing to take on? Are there things the buyer's going to take on? There's just things that will come up in the process of buying or selling a home, even in terms of contractor not showing up when they say they're going to show up, right? So when those things happen, when we're dealing with it, whether we deal with it as a problem, an opportunity, or a challenge, oftentimes all we need to do is take a step back for a moment and let the silence do some of the heavy lifting. Because oftentimes we already have the answer inside us. We already know how we want to do it. As a homeowner, you already have a sense of what you're prepared to do or not prepared to do. Who are you prepared to work with? Who are you not prepared to work with? What concessions are you willing to make? What aren't you? So rather than us rushing in, because even if we're rushing in with an opportunity to be seized, rushing in may not be the best answer. So just slowing it down in general provides a much better outcome.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's easier to be a problem solver for somebody else.
Yes.
Because you're not in the thick of it. You're not in the weeds. You're not in the emotional struggle. You can see more clearly because you're not fogged by all the other stuff, right?
The emotions don't have you encaptured.
Yeah. So sometimes it's simpler for an outside person to see the solution to the problem. And so it's always good to get some other people involved. And whether it's real estate or, family dynamics or relationship issue or financial issue, whatever it is, it's good to get outside people involved as well, because quite often they come at it from a different viewpoint.
Right.
Yeah. And there's, there's a saying that the thinking that got us into this trouble will not be the thinking that gets us out. We're grateful to be your partners in moving forward towards wisdom, wealth, and worth.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward